Alright, welcome to part 5 of our walkthrough of Dark Souls 3. We are headed back into Undead Settlement, and I fast traveled to the Undead Settlement bonfire because there are some items that we missed along the way that I am going to go back and show you. So, go ahead and kill all these guys once again, and then we're going to make our way down to the bottom of this area, dispatching all the enemies as we go. So this is the portion that we haven't been to before. Last time we took a left, and this time we are going to take a right into this broken house. There's going to be a bunch of enemies in here, and there's going to be some really cool things that you can do and a shortcut that you can open up. So we are going to just dispatch of everybody very quickly, and make sure these guys laying down on the right side don't get you, because they are going to stand up and both stab at you at the same time. Now this is the shortcut you can open up. There is going to be one of these enemies that drops down on you. You can just dispatch him and kill him very fast. And then you can open up this shortcut to the rest of the Undead Settlement. This is going to dump us out right where we were before, and there's a bonfire right under that archway at the bottom. But you're going to head back through the house now, and after you get up through the doorway, you're going to take a left where there's an entire area that we haven't been yet. A shield is going to be your best friend here, as there are a ton of those little guys that are going to be shooting darts at you. So make sure you don't get hit too much by them, because they can kill you so fast. And there's one more guy who jumps out at you from behind these rocks, and he is going to fall off because he's just a great team player. Now after we kill this next guy, we're going to pick up the item on the ground, which is a fading soul, and then you will then want to go to the left and take care of this guy on the roof. And after that, you will head back up that ladder that we just passed. Now we need to get all these guys off the roofs, because they will literally keep shooting at you from every direction until you are dead. But go ahead and snag the homeward bone that's down here, and you can drop down and talk to a caged NPC. I actually had never seen this guy before, and I don't fully understand why we are allowed to talk to him or if he serves any other purpose in the game, but you are going to exhaust all of his dialogue, because in the next little area past this house, as you can see from the fence over there, there is going to be a patrolling Bloodborne type NPC with the saw in his hands and the cage on his back, and we will be able to climb into the back of his cage now that we have talked to this NPC. Other than that conversation there, I don't know if there's any other way or any other reason he is in the game, but let me know down in the comments if there's another area that he shows up in. Head up to the rooftop again, and then you're going to jump over this ledge, and you'll land on the other side safely. This is the gentleman right here. We need to crawl into the back of the cage, but before we do that, we're going to go up the stairs and jump past him, and we're going to grab that item there on the other side of him, but you won't be able to grab the item until it falls to the ground below you. After hitting down that item, you can then try to jump into the back of the cage, and a cutscene will prompt, allowing you to be spit out at another area of this game. So that guy is going to drop the cage in the boss arena, where you end up in the second phase of the boss. This is going to be a giant open area with water on the floor, and as you can see in front of you, there is going to be an NPC that we can talk to and exhaust all of his dialogue. He is going to allow you to become part of a covenant, so that is the main reason why we want to be down here, and he is also going to give you a homeward bone at the end of your entire conversation, as there's actually no way to get out of this area of the game unless you have one of those. We'll also pick up the item at the end of our conversation there, and I believe it's a shield, but we'll see in just a minute.
Or perhaps you are a hollow, posing as otherwise? Yes, then we are just fine. It's important to know who you are, but we'll all be mad soon enough. And should you be undead, well, all the more so. Beware the shackles of the gods, of you might need this. Etch it on your heart if you feel your sanity slipping. Come here to pile up your victims, for that will form your anchor. You'll see when you go mad. They'll be your family.
I was right, it is going to be a shield, and then I exhaust the rest of his dialogue to grab that homeward bone, and we will take that homeward bone back to the most recent bonfire that we have been at. Also, I want you guys to know, it goes without saying, if you have a lot of souls on you, go ahead and head back to Firelink Shrine at any time and level up. That is what I've been doing. I haven't been showing my level up process. If you want me to show that in these playthroughs, I'll be more than happy to do so, but I'm just assuming that people are going to level up when they have too many souls in their inventory, because when I travel around with too many souls, it starts making me pretty uncomfortable, and losing all of those can be a huge problem. But we are going to run all the way back through this area where we went before, head to the right over this bridge. We're actually going to make our way to that other bonfire, because we are now going to go finish the other side of Undead Settlement. There are a few awesome NPCs we can talk to, there's a bunch of other items we can get, and there's also going to be a demon mini-boss with a few odds and ends that we're going to snag along the way. But in order to do so, we're going to run through this area that we've been before, making our way to our favorite life-saving bonfire. And I suppose looking back in hindsight, I could have just fast-traveled back there, but for the sake of the walkthrough and the playthrough, I just wanted to go and show you exactly what I was doing. So go ahead and drop down right here. I get utterly obliterated by every single firebomb known to man and end up panic rolling and running as fast as I can to this bonfire. And after we get this bonfire, we are going to head through that door in front of us to the next portion of the Undead Settlement. Now you'll drop down from the rooftop and take a right and wait for all of those guys to patrol out of your way. I ended up just putting on the ring that I had just because I had an extra ring slot, but if you stay here for long enough, all of these guys will patrol in an opposite direction of you, and you won't have to worry about killing them at all, except you always are going to have to kill that dog on the right side who's going into the cellar, because that dog will always, and I mean always, surprise you in the back and hit you, and it's never fun for anybody involved. Now heading back out, there's an item on the bridge we're going to grab. I believe that's an ember, and then you are going to bait all of these guys over the bridge one by one, as that's going to be the easiest possible way to kill them. Now that we've dispatched those 3 guys, there's going to be one more on the far right side here, and up the stairs there's actually going to be a few items we have to grab, as well as a few dogs we have to kill in order to do so. But I really wanted to make him fall off the edge right here, and it just didn't work. So we're going to go ahead and kill him as we normally would, so we can move on to the next part of this walkthrough. Now, the item at the top of the stairs is going to be a deserted corpse soul, and then you can head around the corner where you see 1 dog, but don't be fooled, there are 2, and one of them will jump out at you to make your life way worse. But killing them both as an expert should, we're going to head back into that corner and grab that item, and then we're going to continue our walkthrough to a very awesome NPC who is going to have a giant hammer, and I want his armor and weapons so bad. If I can get it in this playthrough, I'm definitely going to, and you will see me wearing it at some point. But go ahead and talk to him. He's going to discuss the girl in the cellar right next to him, how he's sitting there to protect her, and you want to exhaust all of his dialogue before we move on to the next portion.
As if you deserve respect. No matter. Heed my words. If you've any sense, you'll go find a coffin to huddle up inside. You here, in this land of hollows. You're like a frail maiden on the front lines. If, like the others, you're fool enough to play the champion, then go on ahead. Traipse right past the abandoned church. You'll face death. And it won't be pretty. Enough death to leave you broken. Time after time. If like the other, go on ahead.
After you've exhausted all of his dialogue, you can then head up to these double doors, and in just a minute we are going to see one of our most beloved NPCs that has made it through a ton of different Dark Souls games come up from this elevator in front of us. And there he is, our best friend, the Onion Knight, is going to be hanging out here with us, and we have the opportunity to exhaust all of his dialogue. He is going to help us in the next few portions of this particular playthrough, so it's always good to see him show up in these games.
I am Siegward of Katarina. To be honest, I'm in a bit of a pickle. Have you ever walked near a...
Now, after you talk to him, there is going to be a lift on your right that you need to walk onto, but make sure you run all the way over it, because if you just walk on it, it's going to take you down to the bottom, which is not where we want to go, but it will reveal another lift if you walk through it that will take you up to the top of the tower, where we then need to go befriend a giant in order for him to stop throwing those spears at us. And as you can see, the lift has presented itself. We're going to take it all the way up to the very, very top. There is also an item up here that we can grab as well. I believe it's just a soul, but it's better than nothing. And when we come back down, we're actually going to find a way to roll off the side there to get to the next area where we need to go. The giant's here at the very top of the stairs, at the very top of the tower, and all you have to do is say make peace. And then that's it. It's like the easiest thing in the whole world to do. I don't know why it's so easy, but I think there's another item up here. If there's not, I feel like there really should be. Coming all the way up here just for the giant conversation seems a little bit lame, but it is what it is. Now we are going to head back down this lift and look for the area we can roll off onto the side, because that is where Sigmund of Katarina is going to be, on the rooftop, right before we go fight this demon together. Go ahead and exhaust all of his dialogue so he will come down and help you. And then after you do that, you can progress, and you can kind of see it on the right side of the screen. There's going to be a giant inferno demon down there who's patrolling around a fire, and he is going to drop for you a pretty decent item.
I've unraveled the riddle of this inscrutable lift.
It should also be noted, you don't have to prompt anything for Siegmund to help you out. You just need to go down there and start the fight with the demon, and then Siegmund can take all the aggro, and you can stand behind the demon and just whack at his tail until he's dead. Now he does have some pretty hard-hitting attacks, but they all are very easy to dodge. If you time everything correctly, you don't have to get hit by anything that he does. However, as stated many times in this playthrough, I never time things correctly, and I always get hit by pretty much everything I possibly can. So if you dodge through this fire and roll at the right time, you will not get hit by it, and you can just sit back there as he jumps in the air and hit him in the back at the same time as Siegmund is fighting him, so you guys will do double the amount of damage. He does have a lot of really huge sweeping strikes, so I found that staying right on his side where I'm currently standing is the best place to be. But after he falls over and dies, you're going to get a fire gem, which is going to allow you to infuse a weapon with fire, and then you can talk to Siegmund once more and share a drink with him. Now, if you don't want to use his Siegward, you can take it back to Firelink Shrine and head back to where the crows are on the very top, and if you leave it in their crow's nest, then they will leave you the Armor of the Sun, allowing you to get Solaire's armor in your playthrough.
Well, I'm going to have myself a little nap. The only thing to do, really, after a nice toast.
Now, after exhausting all of Siegmund's dialogue, you can walk all around this area. There's a few items you need to grab, as well as an armor set. I believe it's the one that we're already wearing. It's the one that we started out with, but you are going to grab an item over here, which is the Great Club, and if you're going a strength build, this is a really, really great weapon to use. You also want to roll your way up onto this rooftop over here, hit the items down, which is going to be the Pale Tongue, as well as the item that's over here, and that's going to be the Northern Helm and everything else in the Northern set. Now, I ran over here. There's another way to get back from where we came. I thought there might be an item over here, but there's actually nothing. So now we're going to head into the big house in front of us, where we are going to get all the items in this area, and it's also going to allow us to get to a part of the area that gives us one of the best rings for our class. Now be careful here, a bunch of these guys will drop down on you and can hit you, so if you want to grab those alluring skulls without getting hit, just dive in there real fast. And then you can head over into this hallway where there are going to be two dogs you need to fight, and for some reason I managed to dodge them so wonderfully that they both just fell off the edge of this balcony and I just never saw them again. So that worked out really, really well for me. In this next room here, there are two evangelists, and if you open up this chest, you're not only going to get some pine resin, but all of these cages are going to spawn on top of you. I end up embering up here just because I'm pretty much out of Estus and I want to make sure I have as much health as possible to fight both of these evangelists. Also, it needs to be noted that if you get too close to these guys while you're swinging, they just hit you and bounce you off of them. It's super, super annoying. So you have to make sure that you time your swings perfectly. Now, if you have something ranged like a firebomb or some throwing knives, that's probably the best way to deal with both of these, as I end up getting completely wrecked in this area, having to Estus and Ember up, but eventually we do kill both of them. Now, I have seen their weapon drop before, and I think it's a strength staff, and I'm not 100% sure, but it could be a weapon that I would love to use in this playthrough if I ever got it to drop. But I'm pretty positive after this area there's no more evangelists in the game, so that may not be the case for us. But we're going to head out of this ramp here in the hallway, and then we're going to go up these stairs, which is going to lead us to the next portion of the Undead Settlement, which is the last area in the tower, where we're going to grab the ring that's really going to make this build really, really fun. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet in terms of a weapon. I know right now we're using the axe, and the axe has some great stagger potential, but I haven't leveled anything up yet because I don't know if I want to use the butcher knife from the Road of Sacrifice, or if I want to use the boss weapon from the first boss we killed in the High Wall of Lothric. Either way, both of those weapons are awesome, I just haven't figured out what I want to do yet. But go ahead and go into this doorway here, and you can roll down onto the left side where you're going to find a little embankment to jump onto, and then make sure you land on top of these crates down here. I believe I landed on the ground and took some damage, but we're going to find a armor set as well as the ring, which is going to allow us to have higher stamina regeneration speed. Now, after you get that ring, you're going to come out of this area. I went over here and checked for some items, but there's nothing over here, just some rubble. And then we're going to head to this side right here, which is going to be where the boss is. So I'm going to go ahead and head back to Firelink Shrine to take care of a few odds and ends before we end this episode of the playthrough. Now, I believe we're going to come back here and I'm going to level up twice. I'm going to give NPCs some items and things that they need in order to progress quest lines or to unlock more things for us. And I am going to show you here the key that you can buy. It's 20,000 souls, so we're not going to buy it in this episode, but we do end up buying, I believe, the next episode or the episode after, and I take you through that whole situation. Down here is going to be the pyromancer that you freed from the Undead Settlement. You can go ahead and exhaust all of his dialogue. He can either teach you pyromancies, or he will accept items that allow him to sell more pyromancies. Either way, it's always nice to have him around if you're going to be learning pyromancy. If you're going to be going down the pyromancy route. Now over here is going to be the thief that we freed as well, and you can talk to him and give him Loretta's bone, at which case he's going to realize that she was already dead and he's going to allow you to keep the ring.
Heavens, she was already dead. Thank you. I'm not almost a relief, really. You can keep the ring as...
From here, we can head back to the bonfire in Firelink Shrine, and that is going to be it for this episode of the playthrough.